Hey folks, FJB3 here, the wrestling nut, with another video. This one's dear to my heart. I want to put out there that Fast Times at Ridgemont High is the best 80s teen comedy out there. There's a lot of people that love John Hughes movies, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club. He actually did Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I mean, John Hughes is awesome. But the movie to me that capsulated the 80s was Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Dear to my heart, a movie I've rewatched 1,000 times over. If you've done your research and you know about the movie, there's so many cuts, so many edited versions of the movie that air. It's kind of funny to if you research the movie, how there's like all these different versions that are broadcast out there. But the unedited version is the best. It's an R comedy, as it should be. 80s delivered that well. The plot just brought you right into being in high school. The acting was phenomenal. The writing, Cameron Crowe wrote the movie, and it really hit home. It really hit home as far as a comedic experience into the high school teenage world. The characters, Judge Reinhold was funny as shit. He has some classic lines in that movie. Phoebe Cates, the most memorable scene, of a bathing suit coming out of the water. Um, Jennifer Jason Leigh, she was great. But of course, everybody remembers Sean Penn as the younger Sean Penn as Spicoli. And every scene he was in, he stole it. And Spicoli's become kind of an icon. Um, you dick. So many funny moments in that movie. But it's actually a well-written movie. The plot moves. I always look at movies to see if what I'm watching is if it's pertinent to the story. Meaning, like, if it's a 2 hour runtime, would have been better if it was hour and 45 minutes. And it's a movie if you rewatch a lot of times, depending on what version you watch. But the unedited version, there's really nothing in that movie that I would take out. Um, you get to experience, a young girl who has sex for the first time, and in real life, get stuff happens, and she has to get an abortion, and it's not a comedy per se; it's a comedy drama, and it really does well in that aspect. And that was a serious issue that they tackled, and they tackled it, in a fashion that wasn't politicized by any stretch of the imagination. It was just a part of life, and that's what's great about this movie is that it hits like that. It's exaggerated to so many extents, um, but as far as the plot moving along, it's exactly where it needs to be. Um, Vans are still cool to this day, like Chuck Taylor's and Doc Martens. It's a movie that's so rewatchable because if you grew up in the '80s, I'm Gen X. It just brings you right back there. I mean, the movie opens up with the Go Go's "We Got the Beat." The soundtrack alone, Tom Petty and stuff. Raised on the Radio. Judge Ron Reinhold's washing his car. There's so many iconic little tiny slices in that movie that I take away. And as a young kid, it came out in '83, so I was 11 at the time. But rewatched it many times older. It was one of those movies that the comedy hit for me. That's the kind of comedy I like. I like sharp. I like sarcasm. I like wit, and everything that they did in this movie hit home. I mean, think about an actor that played Mike Damone, who never went on to great success. His name is Robert Romanus. Damone, what a character. Here's my 5-point plan. Zeppelin 4, Side 2. I mean, she either comes, stays, lays, or prays. Spicoli coming into the classroom. I believe this is my class. Why? Well, it's geography. I see the globe. Hey, I know that dude. When they ended the movie with the big dance and Spicoli being hung up because the teacher wanted to take his time and that back because the classic scene, so many classic scenes that Spicoli does is the teacher, Mr. Han, no eating in class is one of his first and foremost rules, and Spicoli orders a pizza, and then he's like very calmly and very reasonably, Mr. Han, I was thinking, if I'm here and you're here, isn't that our time? Um, and he pays that back at the end because the teacher's like, you wasted so much of my time. I'm going to take some of your time back. So that was a very cool thing. And then how they ended the movie with the little, what they went on to do, Spicoli saves somebody's life, gets a reward, and hires Van Halen, at his birthday party and blows it. Jennifer Jason Leigh and the dude are dating. They still haven't had sex. Uh, it's a movie that I would put against any '80s comedy movie out there. It delivered from beginning to end. Give me your thoughts. Any other movies out there? I mean, there's so many. Mr. Mom, that's another one I love. Johnny Dangerously, these are Michael Keaton's, you know. But the one that hits home the most for me definitely is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Give me your thoughts. Thanks.